The lean budget thing is more, it's sort of almost a tier of like, you're going to pay everybody on the production based on tiers. So if you're at a level one tier, say it's $750,000 budget and could make this pretty much the same movie, but the same production value. If you had 3 million, but you're paying those same people more money for the
Hmm.
same look on the end as an indie production, like we're keeping costs down. This movie could be made for $5 million. My
Right.
co-producer, who's directed commercials for 30 years, is able to pull off miracles that you
Mm-mm.
don't know what you're seeing on screen is actually pulled off in this way that saves a ton of money, where you're
Mm.
not going to go rent a crane to do this sweeping shot when you now can use a drone and you can
Mm.
cheat these shots so that it looks like, it doesn't look cheap. It looks like the same thing you would get on a bigger budget, but we're maximizing the potential of the project. So you get a $5 billion looking movie for a fraction of that budget.
All right, Mark. So that red light came on. This is when most people get really nervous because this is like the high stakes podcasting. How are you feeling? You wanna go through with this? You good? You okay?
I think I'm pretty good. I'm
All
kind of a,
right.
I'm kind of an
I don't
on-camera guy.
know. Yeah, I don't know. There's some nervousness here, guys. I think we're good. Yeah. All right. Now let's actually really do the podcast. All right. So I love to
Okay.
start off with, I love to hear, what is your 90-second pitch? Who are you? And what is your project right now?
I'm Mark Elias. I'm making a film called We Could Be Heroes. It is a comedy crime about a young, precocious gamer girl whose console is mysteriously stolen. That is the premise for the entire story. Anybody who likes films knows that the great ones are a small story well told. That's what we're doing here. It's fairly commercial for an indie film. It has a whole gamer audience, and it's fast, it's fun, it's irreverent. I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. So really excited
Very
about
cool.
it.
Awesome. Well, what's the origin story? I mean, where's the idea for this? Where are we right now in that? So kind of just, yeah, talk us, where does this start on maybe a piece of paper or in your mind back in the day?
So it goes back to 2017, I think, when I was like, oh, I'm ready to come up with another film to make, and just literally walking around thinking, what if there is a gamer girl whose console is stolen, but it's mysteriously stolen? And that was and then the idea started to come out. And then it really is my voice creatively in the story, that it's like, it's fast, it's funny, it's irreverent. There's a lot of wit. It appeals to, I think, young to anybody, that's middle aged. Like one of my
Hmm.
investors, he's like, I like to game with my kids. This is a movie that I want to invest in because I can watch it with my kids. And so I'm like, that's
Sure.
two generations there. So
Yeah.
it just, all the signs kept saying, yes, this is something you should do. Yes, it should happen now. And then you just gain momentum from that.
That's awesome. Are there movies, for people who are just listening to this, are there movies that you can kind of put it in a ballpark of that maybe people might know that's like, hey, we're kind of in this ballpark for a movie? Is there any sort of references that you can give?
I think a lot of people point to Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which
Hmm,
has
that's
a
good. Yeah.
lot of fun visual elements to it that I can see that happening. I
Hmm.
also think of Nice Guys, which I think is maybe not, it depends if people know that, but it's sort of this dark comedy crime solving story. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was another one. But I think a lot of people just kind of, they read it and they go, oh yeah, it's like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So we get a lot of that.
Okay. 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 And talk to me maybe about like, what do you do inside of this? What's the team look like? Where are we with like just the people that are pushing this idea forward?
Yeah, so this is my third feature that I've written
Mm,
and sort of pushed forward to produce, with an eye on my obviously acting career. But
mm-hmm.
now that I'm this far in the process on my third feature, it is a lot about me bringing people on board that are passionate about the story and that can add
Mm.
value to the production. So I am the leading producer on it, and I've got two other producers that are working in different angles on it as far as bringing people to the table. We're setting up a schedule for how we're going to shoot in the most efficient way in the Los Angeles area. So there's, different producers with different talents or pieces that are on board, and I'm kind of the head of the snake here.
Gotcha. How do you think about sort of team members in this? If this is the third movie, like how do you sort of think about talent in general? Is it get a big name star for everything? Is it using people that are kind of in your circle? Just walk us through a little bit of how you think about that.
I kind of grow with my circle moving forward because there's a lot in the entertainment industry. It's big, but it's also very small. So when you have
Mm.
people that you like to collaborate with and there's a shorthand, you kind of keep them on board. And the people that don't work out, you kind of move on and try and put together a team that you know and can trust. And then things become a lot easier. So
Mm.
just a third time around the block, it's like, I know to go to these people, I know to avoid these people, I know, these things, that these are the locations we can get. You don't necessarily want to shoot directly in LA where everything costs an arm and a leg. And then you go outside of LA, you can get a lot more for your money. So this from a
Sure.
producer standpoint, it's like you want to maximize the value that you have in the screen. So
Mm.
getting that talent in, this quote unquote DVD cover box name is the most value, and you put that on camera, on screen, and that's where it benefits, the film and the investors on the back end.
Right, right, right. Where is the film kind of right now in the stage of productions? Where is it right now? Is it postscript? Do you have a trailer build? Just where are you right now in the production of it?
So we actually have a couple days already shot. We have 9 days
Mm.
left to shoot. We're raising a bit more money now because there's a star name involved that we can
Mm.
pay him, and that's well worth it for what his value is on the market. So we've checked that out.
Right.
We have basically that schedule set up to shoot here in the Long Beach area, actually. So a lot of those things are happening behind the scenes, but our ramp up is going to be pretty short for pre-production. Once
Mm.
we hit our goal, it's going to be looking at like how less, 2 to 3 weeks, and then we're in production shooting those 9 days, 10 days, and then we go to
Mm.
post-production, which can be 3 to 4 months.
Okay. Okay. Talk to us a little bit about maybe the concepts of maybe lean budget. I know I've done a couple projects myself. How do you sort of balance being lean while still keeping quality up, just making sure that it looks good, sounds good, all the sort of things, while still having a lean budget? How do you sort of walk that fine line as you're thinking about this movie?
That's such a great question. The lean budget thing is more, it's sort of almost a tier of like, you're going to pay everybody on the production based on tiers. So if you're at a level one tier, say it's $750,000 budget,
Hmm.
but if you could make this pretty much the same movie with the same production value if you had 3 million, but you're paying those same people more money for the
Hmm.
same look on the end. And it just as an indie production, like we're keeping costs down, this movie could be made for $5 million. My
Right.
co-producer, who's directed commercials for 30 years, is able to pull off miracles that you
Mm.
don't know what you're seeing on screen is actually pulled off in this way that saves a ton of money, where you're
Mm.
not going to go rent a crane to do this sweeping shot when you now can use a drone, and you can
Mm.
cheat these shots so that it looks like, it doesn't look cheap. It looks like the same thing you would get on a bigger budget, but we're maximizing the potential of the project. So you get a $5 million looking movie for a fraction of that budget.
Yeah. How much do you think about your primary audience either before creating, maybe thinking about shots? Like, do you have that audience in mind, or are you creating and then hoping to find an audience? Like, which way do you sort of lean in terms of the creation process?
It's such a good question. Like personally, I know that there's, from a business standpoint, there is like certain genres, certain types of movies that are an easier sell and can make money. And then
Hmm.
there's the other part of me, which is like, you have to write something passionate. If you're just like, I'm going to go write a horror film, and you don't have any passion or desire behind it, it's probably not going to be great. So for me, it's about like, hey, this is a certain audience that I resonate with, or a certain genre that I can bring like an interesting twist to, that will make a compelling story. Because at the
Hmm.
end of the day, again, it's like a small story well told is what will translate. You can't make a good movie from a bad script. So
Right.
when I have that idea, and I believe that that's a really great idea, and you get good feedback on the script from the people that you trust, and you get A-listers who read it and say they want to do it based on the script, you've kind of got something. And then, down the road, I'm like, there's a niche for this because of XYZ that I had from the very
Mm.
beginning. And you try and blend it in a creative and responsible way.
Sure, sure. How do you think about, as you're going through projects, you've been in the industry a long time, you probably have seen a lot, you've done other movies. How do you know when an idea is worth continuing to push forward with and it just doesn't go away, as opposed to other things that you're like, you know what, I'm going to let that one go. That's not for me. Like, how do you sort of think about that? Or do you have anything in your mind that you're kind of rating these things in some way, or just thinking about like, no, this idea has to get out?
There's two things to that. One thing is when there's something that you come up with, if you're walking around and kind of it's been percolating and it sticks with you the next day and it sticks with
Hmm.
you go, this is something it's going to stick with me. That means that to me tells me this is worth it to pursue. And the other thing I think is like, I love this idea. It's so great, but there was just this other movie. So I love it, but like, it's not that unique that it's going to stand out. Whereas when you have that idea and you think it's different in some kind of way, and it has maybe a different audience or a different twist on something, the further you go and you answer your own questions in your head, and it makes it through all the hoops, then it's something that you stick with. And then if you continue to write it, then I'm still invested in another round of edits on the script because it's that good and I can see what it is. And then that just kind of builds the creative, you're heading towards that pinnacle.
Sure, sure. How are you thinking right now about attracting maybe gamer influencers or cameo type interest? Or how are you sort of thinking about just getting some interest around this project right now, not only for where you are right now in fundraising, but ultimately when the movie's made and you're pushing it out? How do you just sort of think about pushing this out into the audience that you're thinking about?
So part of that is I've been talking to streamers and influencers about potentially coming on board, doing a cameo, or the more interest that we're actually getting. And this is with esports companies. Like there's three based out of Europe and there's one out of Brazil they're very interested in the project. And I think the smart play is to partner with them upon release of the film. So if you're able to release in that territory in conjunction with that esports company, right there, you've got that audience, that their audience that they may be willing to cross promote and help share the trailer with or share a first look of the film. Then all of a
Hmm.
sudden you're getting all the eyeballs of those companies. And then that's huge territory, South America and Europe right there as far as film
Yeah,
distribution.
right.
So I think that's a smart play. They could really pay big dividends down the road.
Yeah. You just set up my next question. I wanted to kind of talk about distribution. What does that look like in today's world? As you guys are sitting here right now thinking about it, is this do you think big movie theaters? Do you think Netflixes of the world? Do you think YouTube's? What is distribution in today's film and movie world right now?
I think the kind of sexy answer is like we want to be in theaters. Everyone wants to be in theaters. I think that
Yeah.
theaters are there's a dozen. I mean, you're going to get like the superhero movies and all the big studio movies are going to go to theaters. We could
Hmm.
do limited theatrical release if it makes sense when a distribution company signs a deal with us. A
Yeah.
lot of it, though, especially with indie films, a lot of what you're looking at is all the streamers. So if it's Netflix, you're going to get it on Tubi. So you've got streaming video on demand,
Mm.
advertising video on demand. There's going to be pay-per-view. So that's like the Amazon Prime, the
Right.
iTunes. And then, there's going to be an airplane package deal. So there's X amount of money to
Mm.
get it on airplanes.
Mm.
Europe still has TV deals. They're less streaming still and more about TV. So
Mm.
you get TV packages
Mm.
in the European countries. And so like a distributor, a good distributor will piece together all of those elements, or Asia, which this could do really well because of the gaming angle, and
Right.
our lead female is Asian. And then South America and Europe, all these, I mean, there's gamers worldwide. So you look at all of those audiences and all the different territories, and you can see how it could do well on streaming and pay-per-view and all of these things, all kinds of
Mm.
places. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. What's the biggest risk in distribution today? Like for people that don't know, I'm not in the industry anymore. I mean, so what is the biggest risk right now?
The biggest risk is if you make a film and you don't have a distributor. And then the second part would be if you do have a distributor, but they don't offer a good deal. So
Mm.
you might have to fight. I've seen people have to fight to take their movies back from a distributor that's not promoting it.
Mm.
I've done self promotion on one of my first two films. We released on our own. And so that's a lot of self promotion that way. But by and
Yeah.
large, we have a sales agent that we're working with, and we've got distribution lining up. It's a matter of making that decision. So it's part of the process of like finishing the film for us.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
If if people are watching this and they've never invested in movies, they've just never even thought about it, but they're just like, yeah, I like this, right? They are a retail investor at the end of the day. What should they expect? Not your terms or anything like that, but just what does this world look like? Is this, hey, this movie could be making money for hundreds of years. This movie makes money for a year and then kind of goes away. This money eventually is, a bunch of TikTok clips. So like, what does it look like if somebody goes, yeah, I would love to be a part of this? What are they getting into at the end of the day?
Yeah, the investment model I think for film is different than what I've learned our other traditional investors are looking at. So for film, you tend to get 10 to 15% ROI. We're doing 20 because we're trying to build
Hmm.
an investor base.
Yeah.
Essentially, that first 120% that the movie makes goes to investors. Their ROI is paid back. And everything
Okay.
after that is split 50-50 with the producers. If another, let's just say there's three investors one at 500K, one at 250, another 250, and this quarter the movie makes $1 million, 500 of that goes to producers, 500 goes to investors, and then that 500 investor gets half of the 250, and then the other 250 investors get half of the other parts. So it gets
Mm.
divvied up by the percentage, but everybody gets money. And it's a quarterly payment for the first 5 years is generally the terms from a distribution company. And after that, it becomes every 6 months.
Mm.
And then, yeah, obviously you want to catch fire when it comes out, and then it'll trickle down over time. But with the talent that you have on screen, that's something that has more lasting power. And then there's movies like Scott Pilgrim or Napoleon Dynamite that didn't do very well, but
Hmm.
had a cult following build up over time, and they're insanely successful now.
Right. Right.
And they get into the TV deal rotation where they end up playing every however many times, like on a TV channel or something is streaming that people keep going back to.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So this really could be theoretically something that could be paying out for years and years and years, right?
Sure.
And you're protecting that IP. I'm assuming, right? So then you have the IP of it, and then how do you protect maybe other things off of that? If there is merch, or if there is, I don't even, I guess, what are the other things that could potentially come off of a property like that you're thinking about?
Well, I did write this thing. I mean, it's completely my IP, which is good for everybody involved because if it
Hmm.
does insanely well, and then there's the opportunity, and it's set up to have a sequel, so there's an opportunity to potentially make a sequel. If there is merch involved, that's all stuff that we can handle and kind of build out from there. But you're already talking about with that kind of Comic-Con pop culture audience. Like there's all kinds of
Right.
opportunities there that could, help bring more money to the project and see it do better down the line than most other indie films.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a special opportunity in that sense. We just need to make it go.
Yeah. Yeah. What should investors be thinking about right now if they're looking at any movie project? Is it, and this is just, again, just kind of in general, just trying to educate just this movie industry, movie investing in general. Is it farther along the fact that you have shots, you have gone out and shot some stuff, you're past just writing it out? Is it, we have an actor on board that's got some name recognition, we have distribution set up? What are kind of the big milestones that people should be thinking about right now? And then have you achieved most of those?
I think one thing is that I've seen, and I believe investors will look at something invested in based on their taste, which is completely an individual's, that's your own thing. I would
Hmm.
say that one thing that I've seen is you want to have somebody who's making a film, who's done it before, who is in the
Mm.
industry and has the understanding of a lot of filmmakers don't, is the distribution
Yeah.
angle on the back end and how to make a lean budget work. And when you do have the money, where do you want the money to go? On camera. If you get that
Right.
name actor, you want them on camera because that's what sells the tickets down the line. So
Hmm.
it's understanding the whole 30,000 foot view of making a film, finishing it, going to market with it, marketing afterwards. That's a huge part that I see a lot of films don't tend to have maybe that angle.
Mm.
I think they want to look for, well, what is the name talent? Are you going to go after other name talent if this one drops out by the time you go to shoot?
Mm.
That's part of our
Mm.
plan is we're not going to make a movie without somebody there that's going to shift the market for us. And then
Right.
what is the marketing plan is a question that I think a lot of people should be asking. I think a lot of people should be asking, what's the timeline?
Mm.
I think, the other thing is probably, what is the distribution plan? And then, yeah, for us, I mean, we've already started filming. We want to make the best product that we can. And for that, it means raising enough now to be able to afford that person that said they want to do it and
Right.
be able to add those additional cast members to other people that we've been targeting, that we have backdoor access to, that those two people can come on board and add value to the cast. So it's always, it's not always about the cast. It's about also the genre. How are you executing this project? Do you have the qualifications to do it? Who else in your network? We're in LA. Our network is large, as I've been working as an actor and a filmmaker for 20 years. So I have that network to be able to pull people that know more than I do that can elevate
Right.
the project. So those are the things I think people should definitely be looking at.
Okay. Okay. Now you're over on WeFunder right now, fundraising. What was the kind of the thought pattern or concept before getting on there to say, yeah, let's go to this as a channel to fundraise instead of maybe going other traditional fundraising routes? So just how did you? What was the conversations like around going to WeFunder?
I think one of the big things about crowdfunding is that for this, I feel like this project could really do well because it is so commercial and fun. And a lot of indie films, they might not be commercial. Maybe it's a passion project. I mean, this is obviously a passion project, but there's high upside to it, which makes it exciting. I just think the project is exciting. I'm excited about it. I think that other people can get excited about it. And also for me, I'm building a long-term vision with, like, this isn't my last film. This is my third, but there's 3 other projects that have in development that I want to make. And to be able to build an audience online with that and have a successful WeFunder, and then they all enjoy the process. They like hearing about the updates. Maybe they're at that level where they're going to come to set and they're going to meet the people that are there. And the network that I'm building on WeFunder can segue to the next project. You got to treat the right and make the right product. But I would like to continue to build that. So we have more people to bring into our circle to be able to elevate the projects and make every project unique and great.
Yeah. So one of the things I think is cool about entertainment projects like this, movies and whatnot, is that you have a lot of opportunity for perks. And I think you guys have some pretty unique ones. I do want to talk just a little bit about how people can kind of not just get involved with a dollar amount, but all of a sudden there's opportunities to have their name in the film is one of I can think about. So let's talk a little bit about maybe some of the perks and how you thought about those, and just in help pushing this film along.
Yeah, so the fun thing about WeFunder is you can offer these perks that, I mean, I think for me, as if I were an outsider, I would think it's cool. So there's people that want to invest in LLC directly outside of WeFunder, and that's their prerogative, and we've done that many times. But if going through the WeFunder, it's like, yeah, at $100 level, you can have your name in the credits, or for the holidays, you can gift that name, somebody else's name, into the credits with your investment. There's assigned scripts from some of the cast. There's a level where you become an associate producer, an executive producer. You can be invited to the set or get like a VIP pass for the premiere. So there's all kinds of things that are unique to the entertainment industry projects, of some like behind the scenes footage or a FaceTime call from the cast while we're filming. Those are really unique to the film industry. And I think that excites people. And then the other part of it too is like, you get to genuinely be involved in a project. You can be an extra if you want. So there's, to me, it's like fun perks. It's fun for me to create them, knowing that people like that and they want to maybe grab at that. And maybe it's a once in a lifetime experience. Maybe it's something that they like so much they want to build on and become sort of a partner in future projects.
That's cool.
I just want to obviously I just want to entertain people. And I think that part of that comes through in the WeFunder.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's keeping you up at night? What's the thing that we've got to get this right? Making a movie, just what is it? Obviously, everybody wants money, but maybe outside of that, but what is the thing that's just you just really top of mind right now?
Aside from bringing the money in, which is the most top of mind, the next thing is just the visuals that we're going to be able to create. How can we create the most fun visual storytelling experience with this? And for me, it's the challenge that some people might not think it's the challenge is fun, but we don't need $1 million. Well, we do need we don't need like $10 million to pull off this like stunt move, because without being dangerous, taking risks, there's things you can do to mitigate or create those things. There's a car crash. There's car crash scenes where somebody getting hit by a car, where I found out they did it in reverse, and then they shot it in reverse with the guy coming up off of the hood of the car and the car pulling back. And then when they edit it into the film, they put it backwards. So it looks, I mean, there's these amazing ways to pull off things that
Yeah.
don't need, you don't need this huge budget to do, but it can still look that good. So for me, it's like,
Hmm.
how can we pull off these angles? How can we pull off these shots? And how are we going to do this cool transition? And some of the footage we've shot, it's really cool looking. It's like a window into my brain. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of
That's great.
stuff that like, it gets you so excited you can't sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. As we're just gonna wrap up here pretty in a minute here, just a couple questions. But I love when I talk to somebody in an industry that's probably shifting and changing. Not probably, it is. It's all over the place. How do you truly feel about the industry right now in terms of just, is it optimistic about the future? Is it you like having a million different distribution channels? The fact that I could watch this on my phone, I could watch it on an 80-inch TV, I could go to a movie theater. Like how do you just feel about entertainment kind of in general in today's society, in today's world, with us being splintered into a million different little channels and groups and wasting time all over the place? So how do you sort of feel about it?
I think, like, okay, you talk to anybody in the industry and it's always like, this is the worst, this is the worst. That's all you ever hear. And so to
Yeah.
me, it's like that with more streaming platforms is more opportunity. With this like rave of verticals coming through and people are panicking, and I'm like, that's an opportunity. My first movie is being shifted into vertical clips that are going to go to a vertical platform and that gets
Mm,
monetized. So
yeah.
I think of it as like it's all monetization. If it's on YouTube, you could pay to watch a movie on YouTube or
Hmm.
pay to watch clips of it. It's still a different stream of income for this film than it is if it gets limited theatrical release and we open in New York, Miami, and San Francisco and
Right.
LA, and you're selling
Hmm.
tickets to those things. It's all streams of revenue. So to me, I just see it as more opportunity, which is exciting because they didn't have that 30 years ago. You couldn't go to streaming. You needed a DVD. And now
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
DVDs are a portion of the money that people in a
Right.
certain segment of the area will buy and nobody else will. And that's fine. So you might sell some DVDs in Walmart and then you also might get this streaming deal. And then you might also now might get on an airplane and that's a package. And then
Right.
a package in TV package in Germany is X amount of money, and it's all
Sure.
pieces that make a tapestry of how this movie can make money and reach its
Yeah. Yeah.
audience.
Yeah, my answer for my own sake on that was always around like on the tech side. Like we're all walking around with literally like some great video cameras in our pocket.
Yeah,
I've got my own little gimbal rig here, and I've made some stuff where people are like, "That's amazing! How'd you do that?" It's my iPhone. Like it's so like the tech has brought this down. The ability to edit has come down. Like you can make anything. Just go out and make stuff. Be
yeah.
creative, and that's how I always think about it. So, as if people want to dive in, they want to learn more. Obviously, we're going to have the links in our show notes here. But where should they dive in to learn more? Watch a trailer, just kind of dive into your world here.
Yeah, I think the starting point of the We Funder has so much information. It took a lot of time to really build that out. We do
Hmm.
there's a website, wecouldebeheroesfilm.com, I believe, that they can check out. It's going to redirect to the We Funder because that's kind of where I'm focused all the
Yep.
energy.
Yep.
Obviously, if they have questions outside of that, they can reach out to me directly through the We Funder website. But we're largely focusing our energy right now.
And how about if people wanted to watch maybe one of your past movies or just kind of see your work? Where would they go to see that stuff?
Yeah, I think most people might know of IMDb by now, but
Hmm.
that's like a internet movie database where you
Hmm.
look a person up and they'll have credits. But my first movie, Golden Boy, and my second movie, Boy Makes Girl, they're on Prime. So those are two of the big places where they can go to find those and look them up. And they were smaller in scale as far as the budget, but ended up niche movies that made their money back plus some, which is always
Right.
never a guarantee and something that we smartly did to try and position them to do that. So it's good. I hope people could watch those and they see the vision and they see storytelling and just good storytelling. And we're going to keep moving forward, telling good stories and find the people that believe in us and keep going and, find ways to make these movies make money so we can make more.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Mark, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I'll let you get back to it. Let you get back to fundraising. Great conversation. For all my listeners out there, you guys know the drill here. I put all the links in the show notes. Go out, click on that. Go dive over to WeFunder, check it out, search for it. Watch the other movies. Great stuff here. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day, and I look forward to watching the old journey over here on WeFunder. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Jeff.